Welcome to the Town of Emmitsburg Town Meeting for the evening of April 1st. At this time, I would please invite you to silence your cell phones in respect of the decorum of the meeting. And if you have to take any private conversations, the hall is just right there. Thank you for your understanding and patience. At this time, I invite you to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Future meetings include, we have our Sustainable Communities Work Group meeting on April 8th at 7 p.m. here in the town office and on Zoom. We also have our Citizens Advisory Committee meeting coming up on April 16th at 7:30 p.m. here in the town office. And Board of Commissioners meeting in May will be May 6th, 7 p.m. here in the town office and on Zoom. And I believe commissioners, those are are there any meetings that I'm forgetting? We're good? Okay. Moving on to approving the minutes. All the way back to February 5th meeting, if we could please turn to that as it's in your packet. I did ask for one small tiny clarification that I already brought to staff's attention. It was under agenda item number 1 for consideration, moving the home department of the following positions. Just adding at the end of the statement to why Commissioner Hoover wanted to have these 3 positions moved, just to add in that a little blurb there, which I believe Sabrina is already aware of. So we were just going to add that part on, commissioners, if you're agreeable to that, as far as why he wanted to see those moved back into their appropriate departments. And other than that, I don't have any other comments. Is there a motion to approve the meeting minutes for February 5th with the clarification for agenda item number 2?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any against? Motion carries 5-0. All right, moving on to town meeting minutes for March 4th. I was absent at this meeting, so I will be abstaining from this particular vote. Is there a motion to approve the meeting minutes for March 4th?
I thought you had one clarification under agenda 2.
Oh yes, on agenda item number 2, where it says for consideration approval of bid for DePaul Street water line, the first sentence just needed to be reworded slightly. It wasn't incorrect, it just needed to be clarified. And did we have the language of that handy by any chance?
Yeah, so Commissioner Turnquist mentioned that the bid received was lower than the estimated cost.
Okay, so that's the correct language. The bid received was lower than the estimated cost for that first line. Everybody see that?
Mhm.
Okay,
No.
Mhm.
We'll change
that's gonna change.
the bid.
Yes, now that it will, yeah. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes for March 4th with the change to agenda item number 2 as stated?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Oh, any further discussion? Missed that part for a second. Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
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 I will abstain, so motion carries 4-0 with 1 abstaining, which is me. Okay. Moving on to the minutes for the workshop on March 18th. Is there a motion to approve the minutes for March 18th?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Okay, from that, we are turning to the police reports.
My laptop sound, so I gotta improvise a little bit. I'll be reading off my phone. It's still myself and Barthla as the community deputies. We have no fleet issues for the month of March. We handled 183 calls for service. We had 6 criminal arrests and 27 traffic stops. We both had police one training. We handled the Seton pilgrimage parade. We used 1 day of annual leave, 1 sick day, another 1.5 days of other leave. I'm not sure what that was. And that is all I have.
Thank you. Any questions, commissioners? No? Oh, all right, thank you. Okay, from there, we're moving on to the town manager's report.
Good evening. This is the town manager's report for February. I'll just highlight some of the key areas related to streets. Staff work with the contractors on the Main Street lighting project. Staff cut up a tree that fell near 338 Mountaineers Way. Staff also conducted a storm drain inlet inventory, and they assisted the contractor with the installation of a new storm drain on West North Avenue. Related to parks, staff trimmed some trees along the community park walking trail behind ball field number 3. Related to water, we treated an average of wastewater, excuse me, we treated an average of 669,677 gallons per day and consumed 219,154 gallons per day, which meant that 67.27% of the wastewater treated in February was wild water. We had no spills of untreated sewage. However, we did exceed the plant's capacity 12 days in February due to a large amount of rain, mostly. We received about 2.8 inches of precipitation, and we currently have a surplus of 5.48 inches over the last 6 months. Related to water, Rainbow Lake is at the spillway level of 16.6 feet. On page 21, you can see the well depths as of the end of February, as well as the average for 2023, and then the current monthly averages for 2024. For water production and consumption, again, we produced an average of 219,227 gallons and consumed 219,154, which meant the amount of backwash water in February was approximately 14.02%. 74% of the water came from wells, 26% came from Rainbow Lake. Trash pickup will remain Mondays during the month of April. Just a few noteworthy items. I'll have listed the meetings I attended in February. Just some highlights. Staff cleaned the spillways of debris at Rainbow Lake. They continue to work with the engineer and contractor on the pump station project. Staff gave a tour of both the water and wastewater plants to the University of Maryland students, and staff made repairs to the flooded road at well number 5. That's my report.
Thank you. Commissioners, any questions? Nope. All right.
Oh,
Go ahead.
I have one first. Let staff know that the new banners for North Seaton Avenue are being worked on now. They'll be done sometime next month.
Okay.
The veterans banners
Oh,
to go on to the poles. Thanks for getting permission from the electric company for letting us put them on there.
You said next month?
Yeah, they should be done next month. The Chronicle Press is doing the banners. So they're working on them now. Thank you.
how many more are we expecting? Do you know?
I think there is 15.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, any other questions? All right, hearing none, let's move on. We're going on to the town planners report. Or is it, wait a minute. Yeah, town planners report and the grant administrative report.
Okay, I have the town planners report. She just highlighted some areas she wanted me to go over. Development updates for the Seton Village project, the forest delineation, forest conservation and subdivision plat. The applicant intends to convert 2 condominium units into 2 recorded lots, and it was approved by the planning commission unanimously at their last meeting. The Emmitsburg Distillery, the town engineer and staff had more comments regarding the updated improvement plan, especially regarding the size of the water pipeline and associated flow and pressure. We had a meeting with them, I believe, last week. And so we're all on the page, same page now, and they should be submitting, I think they just submitted actually on Monday, their corrected plan. Christ Community Church, the site plan's been approved and we are awaiting the improvement plan. St. Joseph's Church, the improvement plan for the installation of a ramp that meets ADA standards. That was approved by the Planning Commission unanimously, and I believe they're doing the work in conjunction with the DePaul Street water line. Board of Appeals, March 19th, 17750 Creamery Road. The applicant was seeking a special exemption to occupy one of the units at the office park. The Board of Appeals approved the special exception unanimously. As you mentioned, the Sustainable Communities Work Group will meet again on April 8th to finalize the applications. The past events, she held an in-person public visioning workshop on March 25th to focus on community development and environmental sustainability. I believe that was the last work group, and that's her report.
Thank you. Questions on the town planners report?
I have one.
Yes, Commissioner Hoover.
So stormwater management, I don't know if you know this or not, but stormwater management at Northgate Pond, the preliminary research to estimate cost. You know what that's, page 29 of 75.
Northgate Stormwater Pond. So part of the new MS4 permit term that started the end of October and goes through 2028. One of the projects is going to be the retrofit of the Northgate Stormwater Pond. So we're just trying to put together some numbers on how much that's going to cost so that we can achieve our MS4 credits within those 5 years. The last project we did at Silo Hill was fully grant funded. So that's our hope again.
All right, I'll probably try to get some more information about that later, but all right, I'll figure it out.
Additional
That's
questions?
all I got now.
Nope. Okay. Should we go back to
Grant.
the grant administrator's report? I'm sorry, nope. I don't think I did that out of order.
I believe Madeline is on if you have any questions related to her report.
Any questions, commissioners?
I would, excuse me, I would just like to ask that we put the FY24 Community Legacy Grant on the list.
That actually falls under the planners report or the planners department, but so Ms. Shaw is not doing that, but I'm sure she can gather the information from Nigelia.
Okay, so are there other grants that the planning department is handling? that
She
we-
would, yeah, she would do the stormwater grants because that falls under the planning department.
So perhaps just a separate list of grants?
Yeah, I
for the
believe you had
plan-
asked that before and Nigelia was going to put it on her planners report. I think it just was an oversight. What's that? Page 30? Oh, thank you. Oh. Yeah, so those are the grants she's working on, the Community Legacy Grant, as well as the IIJA DNR grant, and that was for the Silo Hill project, stormwater basin.
Okay, so if we could just include kind of similar information to what we include on the grant report about the grant award amount and then the town match would be helpful.
Okay.
I think it's just trying to get that overview of all the different grants is what you want, like an overview, so that it's consistent and it's easy for us to go down the line and just see. And I think the only request I had was for upcoming grants. If we could know in the future, like right next to it, if there's a match or not a match, I think that's just helpful information to have.
Yeah, a lot of time, like we discussed earlier, sometimes we know, sometimes we don't.
Yeah.
And so when we do know, she can certainly add that.
Yeah, even if it's unknown, we could put unknown. But it just gives even the estimates you provided were very helpful, so thank you. Any other questions? Nope. Okay. Moving on to Commissioner comments? We don't have to approve that. No. Okay, moving on to Commissioner comments. I'll start at the end of the line. If you don't have any comments, just say so, but we'll start with Commissioner O'Donnell and move on down the line.
I do. We had a successful trail day on March 24th. We had a strong turnout. We had 7 volunteers on site. We had set out to repair a section of trail that had been overgrown, and there were folks who were having some tripping issues that's been addressed. I had some good conversations with the Fred Rock Disc Golf folks. Today they hosted a tournament. They had 95 attendees. They expected 100, but because of the wet, cold weather this morning, 5 folks dropped out. I was there when they kicked off. They had a solid setup and people were coming all day, and they were visiting McDonald's. They were visiting Tuscany's. They were visiting Dunkin'. There was a pretty nice correlation between their buying goodies and visiting town. They have another tournament scheduled called the Mountain View Tournament. That's going to occur, I believe it is July 14th, and I'll double check that. And a big win for us is the Maryland Senior Olympics is going to use this course in the summer. They've chosen the weekend of July 20th, and they've requested to have the Lions Club or some other organization please consider attending to provide barbecue and food and things of that nature. 2 weeks ago, I met with Mark Ginsburg. He's the incoming president of Towson University. We discussed at length internships for the town. I'm following up with him this Friday. I also discussed with him the notion of some means by which training could occur for water treatment staff and wastewater treatment staff. So it's put into the curriculum at the university at some level, and students might be exposed to a very rewarding career path and a very important one to our community. I met with Ms. Shaw about a pending grant and the language needed therefore. It was very successful. It was appreciated that she met me when she did on Monday. And finally, I met along with Mayor Davis, the president of MML, and my piece was discussing some lobbying points that could benefit our community and communities like ours related to workforce housing and funding that could be provided by the state or the Fed related to transit-oriented development. And the way it's set up now is that funding is available for communities that are on rail lines like the MARC or a subway line or a light rail line, but they're not viewing park and rides in the same light. And I asked if we could have park and rides considered for that. And he agreed that they will try to pursue that for the next round of legislation, not this year's, but next year's. And with that, I conclude my comments. Thank you. I think we have a park and ride expert here, maybe.
Park and rides used to be on it at one time. So they were in the early beginning. Bus routes are included, bus stops.
Mhm.
Or hubs, bus hubs, for the hubs where multiple buses stop.
Commissioner Turnquist.
Pass.
Okay, Commissioner Sweeney.
Yes, the Little League has started practicing. Their first games up here will be on starting April 23rd. And they will be playing until Memorial Day. And then we have two big tournaments coming up at the first 2 weekends in June, which the whole town will be full of children, so be on the lookout for kids running back and forth across the roads to the fields and stuff. Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
What, that's actually, I have a question about that. Is it gonna draw the crowd where they also tend to sit up on the hill behind that one, behind, what's the name of that? There's the alley with the speed bumps that goes right behind one of the ball fields, and sometimes they camp out right on that. Lincoln, yes. Do we anticipate that kind of crowd?
Yes, there'll be 200,
200.
using all the fields. So
Okay,
there should be 200 children playing,
okay,
including their parents will be here and siblings, other
Okay.
siblings. So it'll be crowded the whole,
okay,
the first 2 weeks in June, Saturday and Sunday, from
okay,
8 o'clock in the morning to 8 at night. They play
okay.
the dawn to dusk they play.
The only reason why I was thinking about that is because I know if you drive back there during that time, it's really hard to see if people are sitting up on that hill watching the game, and therefore, I know that there was a close call a couple years ago, because you just couldn't see. So I didn't know if we could be extra vigilant. Or is it even possible to close off that road during those days so that we don't have anybody? It's just really hard to
They shouldn't be
see.
using Lincoln. They should use this road right out here. I don't know what the name of it is, but
Cedar is, wait,
Cedar,
where are we pointing?
the one right
There's
here.
Cedar, and Cedar jumps out onto, what's that next one?
Community Park Drive.
Yeah,
Thank you.
You're probably thinking of Chesapeake by the post office and then,
No, wait, which
which
ball
which
field?
field are you
they
talking
use
about?
all of them.
All of
They
them.
use all
Oh, we're talking about over here.
Over
Okay.
there, like right behind we have the town office, and then we have that big field behind the town office, and then that road with the speed bumps that go in front of the tennis courts. And the
How
ball
about if we
field.
shut it off at the tennis courts?
It's just, yeah, it's just something to consider, because I know there was a close call because a truck came around 2 years ago, and there were kids going back and forth, and
Because they use the bathroom.
yeah, so it's just something to consider moving forward. Thank you. Any other comments?
That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. We'll go to Commissioner Hoover, and then I'll bounce back to me.
The only thing I have is related to the town planner's report. Really was there was a workshop last Monday, 25th. I attended that. Mayor Davis was there and attended as well. I just want to say that the town planner done an excellent job. She really was, it was interactive with those of us that was in the audience. There was a fair amount of people within the audience. It went really well. I think she's done a really great job, and appreciate what she's doing. And I think with what she's doing, I think we should get a good outcome with the comp plan.
Mhm. Perfect. Thank you. I just have a few comments as well. I did see a lot of people on the disc golf course. Yeah, despite the rain, I was surprised to see how many people came out in the weather, and they were having a good time. And I was excited to see that the town will have some upcoming Earth Day activities, as well as a yard sale at the end of the month. If you're interested in participating in the yard sale, it's townwide, and you don't have a place to set up, the town has offered the field right behind the town office. If you would like to set up there for that time, you're more than welcome. The more the merrier. And just to follow up with commissioners, with the Civil War proposal, if you have any additional questions, having seen the proposal, if you would send them my way so that I can gather them for Mr. Castile. And that is all I have. We'll turn to Mayor Davis.
Oh, I'll try to be quick here. We have a lot of stuff on the agenda. It looks like May the 1st is going to be the kickoff day for our new phone app that will, it'll be give you all the information about what's going on in town. It'll be a way to get out notifications, real-time notifications, and it's going to be called My Emmitsburg. We thought that was a good title to make everybody feel a little ownership in the town. But there'll be more coming out about that. But we think it's going to kick off May the 1st. And let's see, Commissioner O'Donnell already covered the MML visit. Commissioner Bowman Pollock covered a yard sale, and that's April 27th. And right now, crews are out working on a water main break on Creamery Road. So part of the east side of town is without water, and we'll try to keep you updated as the meeting goes on that. So that's it.
Thank you. Okay, from there, we will be moving on to public comment. We have 2 people signed up for public comment. When your name is called, if you come up to the podium and turn on the microphone, there's a little button underneath it, so it turns red. If you could just let us know if you live within town limits, you do not need to state your actual address. First, we have Eric Sloan, Mr. Eric Sloan.
Eric Sloan. I live here in town. A couple things real quick. With the advent of affordable housing in town, and when a starter place starts at $300,000, the town needs to begin courting contractors that would be interested in putting in a standard apartment type building. You know, it's 4 stories up, front and back setups for mid to low income range units for the people. And they need to begin to court Frederick County or the state to put in a mental health care facility in town. Because if you were to spend half a day down at my end of town watching the people that walk through that have been deposited here from God knows where, that are in need of mental help. Because we've all seen the people that walk around talking to the sky, yelling at people that aren't there in the middle of the road. We need the help. You can't just say, head on down to Frederick and go to one of the clinics down there, although I know Frederick City probably does have them, or Frederick County has them in the city, but we're gonna need them here. We're gonna need them for the local population. And as far as the apartments buildings, you have, find a section of land that you can put up, some of it'll house anywhere between 20 to 40 families, and you will be able to provide housing. And I guarantee you college students, which are beginning to burn out their reputation in a lot of the little houses in the communities, would probably love to live in an all concrete structure that they can raise cane and be controlled in one area. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Mr. Donald Sun. Pass. Okay. That concludes public comments. Okay, moving on to administrative business. Number 1 is proclamation declaring April Child Abuse Prevention Month. And I do believe we have 2 speakers with us to come up and give some background. I'll invite Kristen and Megan.
Hi, good evening. Hello. Actually, if you want to hand them, we've got some goodies for each of you as a little bit of a thank you. And of course, inside of each of the bags is a little bit more information, some statistics, and some different door hangers and information for everyone. So my name's Kristen Dunn. I'm the program manager for Child Protective Services here in Frederick County. And this is Megan McGowan, and she is a forensic interviewer here in Frederick as well. We're here on behalf of the Child Advocacy Center and appreciate your participation in years past and again this year in proclaiming Child Abuse Prevention Month. During this time, of course, we want to bring about different prevention efforts, but also the awareness. So inside you'll see kind of a little bookmark, if you will, that gives some information and some numbers of the numbers of children we've served in the past year. What's not on here, I did a little bit of digging today, and Child Protective Services as a whole served over 1,100 families in the year in 2023. So, it's just one of those, it's the awareness and a testament to how much work and effort is being provided, but also the need in every community, including yours here in Emmitsburg. So again, appreciate your participation. The Child Advocacy Center provides a multidisciplinary team approach to child maltreatment investigation. So what that means is that they bring together Child Protective Services investigators, local law enforcement, prosecution, advocacy work, a medical team, all together into kind of under one umbrella and under one roof in a lot of ways to provide the best service to children and to allow them to begin their healing. In 2023, the Child Advocacy Center served 316 children, provided 301 forensic interviews, which is a specialized interview for child victims. Our facility dog, Eris, who's hiding behind me, probably trying to find crumbs on the floor. She accompanied 66 children during some of those interviews, provided comfort and support during that time. We provided over 700 hours of trauma-focused therapy, over 1,000 hours of advocacy work and support from our family advocate, 48 pediatric forensic medical exams right within our CAC. And we also partner with Frederick Health Hospital to provide other acute medical needs for children and their families. We also conducted many screenings that help us to then connect families and children to appropriate resources. So just about 200 trauma screenings and 150 ACEs screenings were also conducted for the children who came through the center. And using our Handle with Care process and policy also provided 200 Handle with Care notifications to the schools. So again, appreciate everything. It absolutely takes the community as a whole to do our work. And we appreciate the awareness and the proclamation this evening. Thank you.
And you guys will see pinwheels around the county, around
Yes.
town, and you guys each have one in your bag, plant it, whether it's out here or at your home, just as a symbol of child abuse prevention.
Yes.
Thank you.
We will be planting some out front.
Yep.
Thank you for that. Yep.
Thank you very much. I know even working in the school system, I'm sure Commissioner O'Donnell can say the same. We're seeing a rise in ACEs, the adverse childhood experiences, and how that affects the child as a whole. So we very much understand the impact and what a valuable resource you are to our community. So thank you for that. Any questions, commissioners or mayor? Comments?
Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
All right.
Everybody good?
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. I appreciate the presentation. Okay. So that brings us into the proclamation, which I will now read. Proclamation, National Child Abuse Prevention Month, April 2024. Whereas child abuse prevention is a community problem and finding solutions depends on involvement among people throughout the community. And whereas the effects of child abuse are felt by a whole community and need to be addressed by the entire community. And whereas the effective child abuse prevention programs succeed because partnerships are created among social service agencies, schools, religious organizations, local governments, law enforcement agencies, and the business community. And whereas youth serving prevention programs offer positive alternatives for young people and encourage youth to develop strong ties to their community. And whereas all citizens should become involved in supporting parents to raise their children in a safe, nurturing environment. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the mayor and the board of commissioners of the town of Emmitsburg, Maryland, do hereby proclaim the month of April 2024 as National Child Abuse Prevention Month in the town of Emmitsburg and call upon citizens, community agencies, religious organizations, medical facilities, and businesses to increase their participation in efforts to prevent child abuse, thereby strengthening the Emmitsburg community, which will be adopted this April 1st of 2024. All in favor?
We have one.
Do we, I can't remember. Do we do an all in favor for this one or just, can't remember?
Yeah, since it's admin business, you have to do a motion and a vote.
Thank you. Is there a motion to, um,
I'll make a motion to accept proclamation National Child Abuse Prevention Month, April 2024 is read.
is there a second?
Second,
I don't think we need further discussion, right? Any further discussion? Nope. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you so much to our speakers for coming in. And anytime the dog,
Appreciate
you
it.
want to bring in the dog, bring her back too. All right, next we move on to our proclamation declaring April 20th, 2024 Earth Day in the town of Emmitsburg. So I will read the proclamation. Proclamation Earth Day, Saturday, April 20th, 2024. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for planting of trees. And whereas this holiday, called Earth Day, was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. And whereas Earth Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world. And whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cutting heat and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce life-giving oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in our cities increase property values, enhance economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the mayor and the board of commissioners of town of Emmitsburg, Maryland, do hereby proclaim April 20th, 2024 as Earth Day in the town of Emmitsburg. We call upon all citizens and organizations to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands by planting trees to gladden the hearts and promote the well-being of this and future generations, which would be adopted this April 1st of 2024. Is there a motion to accept the proclamation?
I so moved.
Is there a second? All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
I have a question.
Yes.
Does staff need money for trees this year? Do you know, the Lions Club usually buys some trees to be planted?
Yes, you can.
No, I did a fundraiser, not a fundraiser, but I was able to get 5 trees for free. Because I completed the survey.
Oh,
So
okay.
getting a couple trees that are been delivered, it's just a matter of.
Well, if you need any more trees bought, just say something to Lions Club, we'll purchase them for the town.
And just to repeat what Ms. King said for anybody who's listening, because she participated in a survey, she was the town will be receiving 5 free trees that will be used for Earth Day. And when they arrive, they'll be planted. So they're waiting on that. Yes, Commissioner.
Mr. Sweeney,
Yes.
I know that there's at least one household in Southgate that would perhaps want to see a tree behind their home where some trees had been removed. I'll follow up with you after the meeting, if that's okay.
That's fine.
Great, thank you, sir.
Thank you. All right. And we have one last proclamation, as long as no one else has questions about Earth Day, we're good. Okay. Proclamation Fair Housing Month, April 2024. The mayor and the council of Emmitsburg proclaim April 2024 to be Fair Housing Month, whereas April 11th, 2024 marks the 56th anniversary of the passage of the Fair Housing Act, which enunciates a national policy of fair housing for all who live in the United States. And whereas the Fair Housing Act prohibits discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, handicap, familial status, and national origin. And whereas the state of Maryland additionally prohibits discrimination based on marital status, sexual orientation, and gender identity. And whereas throughout Maryland, this spirit of cooperation is being provided through the efforts of our state, federal, and local governments, and with the support of countless community and nonprofit organizations. And whereas economic stability, community health, and human relations in all communities are improved by diversity and integration. And now therefore be it proclaimed that the mayor and the Board of Commissioners of the town of Emmitsburg, Maryland do proclaim the month of April 2024 to be Fair Housing Month in Emmitsburg to establish an inclusive community committed to fair housing and to promote appropriate activities by private and public entities intended to provide or advocate for equal housing opportunities for all residents and prospective residents of Emmitsburg, which would be adopted on April 1st of 2024. Is there a motion to accept the proclamation?
I'll make a motion to accept proclamation Fair Housing Month, April 2024 as read.
Is there a second?
A second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. We have nothing on our consent agenda, so we will be moving ahead to our treasurer's report.
This is the cash activity report as of March 25th. Cash balance on March 1st, 10,754,000. Deposits, 106,000. Withdrawals, 543,943. Operating balance going forward, 10,317,105. Our top checks are located there in the middle of the page. The funds breakdown, our current balance for FY24 in the general fund is $2 million, roughly. Capital projects, 425,000. Water, 335,000. ARPA funds, 2.8 million. Sewer is 4.6 million for a total of $10,315,101. That's the treasurer's report.
Any questions or comments on the treasurer's report? No? Okay.
Next is the planning commission report, which was covered in as part of the town manager's report. I don't have anything additional to add for that.
Okay, so that brings us to our agenda items, of which there are 8. So starting with agenda item number 1, approval of the water treatment plant clarifier construction bid for consideration. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just real quick, the timeline for advertising of the water treatment plant. The RFP was published on January 6th. The bids were due on February 28th. The bids were publicly opened on February 29th. The RFP was posted on our website, on eMaryland Marketplace, on our town Facebook page, and we sent emails to potential contractors. The total estimated cost of the project is $3,057,477. On page 44, you'll see listed we received 4 bids. The apparent low bidder at the time of the bid opening was Conowago at $2,329,561. On page 46, we have the recommendation to award from our engineer, RK&K. I'll just highlight some of his letter. Bids were publicly open and read aloud at 11 a.m. on February 29th. We received 4 bids. Based upon those bids, Conowago was the apparent low bidder. Their bid was 7% lower than the engineer's estimate for construction and 6.07% lower than the second lowest bid. In consideration of their references, integrity, record of past performance, including the pump station project and financial and technical resources. It is our opinion that Conowago Enterprises can successfully perform under the terms and conditions of the proposed contract and is a responsible bidder. So they recommend awarding it to Conowago.
Okay, is there a motion to accept Conowago?
I make a motion to accept Conowingo for the bid for water clarifier project. I'll get it out here in a minute. For $2,329,561.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Could you remind me, the breakdown of the money? I know some of it was ARPA. I think some of it was grant funding.
Right, so the water clarifier, cheat sheet here. Water clarifier, $1 million is a state bond that Senator Howe got for us. And then the remainder will be paid by ARPA. Approximately $2,057,477 will be ARPA money.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any against? Motion carries 5-0. Moving on to agenda item number 2, approval of bid for engineering services for Emmitsburg Dam inspection as required by MDE for consideration. So this was something that came along beginning of January where the state came out and basically said we had to do all of this. So this is our response to that.
Correct. So MDE came out, they did an inspection in November of 22, October of 24. They do periodic inspections. As part of their inspection, they came out and said that within 6 months of the day of the report, or 6 months, we have to retain a professional engineer that is experienced in dam inspections, design and construction. And they listed 6 bulleted items that the engineers can be responsible for, and then some yearly reporting after that. So we prepared an RFP and it was published on the town's website on January 29th. The bids were due on March 4th and the bids were opened by staff on March 5th. The RFPs were posted on the website, Maryland Marketplace, Facebook, and email to potential contractors. On page 52, you'll see the 5 bids that we received. They varied quite a bit on what services they provided. On page 55, I did a breakdown of not only what MDE was requiring, but what each contractor offered. In reviewing the bids, staff as well as the mayor were extremely impressed with the CPJ estimate, as they are providing an in-depth inspection, a hands-on field inspection, as well as other items that the other engineers were not able to provide. So based on that, we reached out to all the other bidders to ask if they were able to provide an in-depth inspection, and unfortunately, they were not able to. At this time, we cannot determine the last time a full inspection of the dam was completed. There's been some minor inspections over the years, but nothing in depth. Based on that, we feel that CPJ, we would like to enlist CPJ's services to complete not only the full inspection, but all the MDE requirements. Their references were very favorable. This will be funded by ARPA. And their bid was $72,426.
Okay. Is there a motion? No, we want to do questions?
Either one.
Hmm? No?
Go ahead.
Is there a motion to accept CPJ CPJ's bid, hang on, I lost
CP.
the blurb. For the engineering services for the Emmitsburg Dam inspection as required by MDE.
So moved.
Is there a second?
A second.
Questions?
Yes.
Yes. Commissioner Hoover.
So not quite understanding. So the bid that CPJ has is a flat rate of 72, well, whatever, 72 and change. They're going to do a full depth inspection. Additional services or just, and there's some other services. I'm not comparing them to the lowest apparent low better hills
Mhm.
of only $1,300 for inspection. That's only an inspection of. They plan to do multiple inspections, I guess.
So the one from Hills,
Like you said earlier, they're just.
they only gave a price and estimate prepared for each annual visit, which was 1,380. They did not really address any of the other bulleted items that MDE listed that were requirements.
Okay.
And theirs was only a visual inspection.
So then CPJ is actually going to do inspections and take care of the MDE
Correct,
concerns.
Yes.
Actually do the physical work.
correct.
Now I think I understand a little better now. I mean, the bids are just all over the place.
Mhm.
Yeah, and we felt it was imperative that we did a full inspection to get down in with valves and concrete and because if we had a failure, a catastrophic failure, not only would it affect our water supply, but it would also affect all the residents
Downstream.
downstream. And it would be catastrophic. It was, if you remember in the town planner's report or the town manager's report, where they said that the staff cleaned some debris away from the spillway. Well, by them just doing that and allowing some extra flow to come into the spillway, it flooded Annandale Road. So the one flood on Annandale Road was our fault. We'll admit that. But that was just by moving some logs and branches and debris away from the spillway. And that eventually made it to Annandale Road so if we had lost that whole thing, it would be really bad.
Additional questions or comments?
I just wanted to clarify, are they doing the inspection only, or are they actually, I know you answered it, but I wanted to clarify. They're not going to remove the woody vegetation, right? And they're not going to make any repairs. Aren't they going to do an evaluation and submit a report?
Correct. That's what MDE required. Within 3 months, remove the woody vegetation. That's what staff has done. We also contracted some services to clear the area that was mentioned. The engineer is supposed to go in and verify that was done properly, and we've cleared everything that needed to be cleared. And then we don't have to do the second bulleted item because we do not allow any recreational access to the lake outside of fishing. There's no boating or anything. And then within 6 months of the date, retain the professional engineer. And then those items that are bulleted are things that they are required to do as part of their inspection per MDE. So in their bid, they have addressed all the bulleted items that MDE is requiring, plus the extra inspections that some of the other ones that wouldn't, or that are not. As you'll see on page 56, they're doing hands-on field inspection, a very in-depth inspection, when the rest of them were all visual inspections. They've mentioned they're going to review all available information. They're going to do concrete structures, x-rays. That was not captured in anybody else's, the concrete coring and determining ultimate strength with report, and the other items. Most of them were not addressed in the other reports. But yes, you're correct. This is just an engineer's report that will come back and say, Town of Emmitsburg, you're going to have to do X, Y, and Z related to your dam.
Any additional questions or discussions? Oh, okay. All right, hearing none. We do have a motion on the floor. So just to repeat that motion, It was a motion. Okay.
Motion was to accept CPJ's bid of $72,426 for the dam inspection report and comprehensive report inspections.
And we had a second on that. So all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Agenda item number 3 will be postponed, which was the approval of FY23 budget transfers for consideration. So since that is postponed, we'll move it on to item number 4, agenda item 4, which is approval of ordinance 24-01 to amend Title 10 vehicles allowing 48 hours parking on East and West Main Street for consideration. This was brought up earlier and it, commissioners, as you can see in your packet, the amendment, the changes are marked in strike through. I don't know if there's any presentation that needs to go along with this unless you have questions, commissioners. No? Is there a motion to approve ordinance 24-01 to amend Title 10 vehicles allowing 48 hours parking on East and West Main Street?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Any discussion or questions?
Yes.
Commissioner Hoover?
So it looks like the only thing we're doing is removing items from the code related to 2-hour parking. And the rest of the language within the code that I don't have here covers the 48 hour
That's correct.
throughout town.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. Good.
Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
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 All against? Okay, motion carries 5-0. Okay. Moving on to number 5, which is approval of ordinance 24-02 to amend Title 10 to remove the red citation box from the square for consideration. So if you look at the ordinance on page 62, commissioners, you're going to see that there's many different ways that somebody could have turn in their payment for a parking citation. There's in person, by cash, to the town office, by mailing. You could use, you could mail it to the office. You could use the drop box that's located at 22 East Main Street. And also there is a black drop box located near the rear of the town office building that could be used. So this would just be striking through the section to remove the red drop box since it is not used, essentially. Is there a motion to approve ordinance 24-02 to amend Title 10 to remove the red citation box from the square?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or discussion? No. Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Moving on to item number 6, approval of policy 24-01, parking meter fees for consideration. This would increase parking meter fees from 25 cents for 30 minutes and 50 cents per hour. You can see in your packet on page 66, how the rate increase would change. There was a question that came up if, Ms. Willetts, if paid via third-party vendor, there may be extra fees. Is that regarding the smart app?
That would be, yeah, related to the Park Mobile app.
Now, are there extra fees on that?
We're still working through with them on their contract. I believe they do pass on some third-party fees to the user. If they
We wouldn't
use-
see that to town.
if you
Right,
use that, if you use a credit card or use the app,
Okay. So there was,
not a credit card, but the app itself.
when we were looking at one of the other softwares and it was something like they charged by card swipe, that was a charge that would have been to the town for one of those other services, correct?
So the vendor that you chose for the parking meters, if we use their credit card service, so you actually stick a credit card in, my understanding is there's no service fees. If you use the Park Mobile app,
Oh,
Park Mobile may charge the user
oh, I understand.
additional fee for the service.
Okay,
Mhm.
that makes more sense. Thank
Yes.
you.
That's also said on their interactive site. They'll tell us that if we're using that.
Right.
So.
Yes, that was just the clarification I was
Mhm.
looking for.
Sure, sure.
Hey, is there, oh, and part of the justification for this was to offset our new, in order to give us the smart meters, which allows more flexibility for customers when they're coming to town to be able to pay via the app. This will help offset the cost of the software that goes along with that. Is there a motion to approve policy 24-01 with the updated parking meter fees as stated?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion or questions at this time?
Yeah, I have a question. In terms of if paid via third-party vendor, there may be extra fees. I know we talked about that a lot, and I thought we had agreed to go with, was it ITS?
We did.
And I thought part of the agreement with going with ITS is if we used their system, there would be no credit card fees.
Correct. So if you go up to the parking meter and you swipe your credit card, there are no fees. If you go to the meter and you pull out your phone to use the Park Mobile app, which is completely separate from the meter, it's a convenience app. Park Mobile may impose fees as the user. They're two separate things.
So how do you use the meter and not get a fee?
Uh,
That once more.
coins or credit card,
So if you put your credit card in the machine,
right?
there's no fee.
Correct. But if you pull out your phone and use the Park Mobile app, that's a third-party vendor. They probably charge, or they will charge a third-party fee. But you go up and throw your credit card in there, there's no additional fee because we went with that vendor.
Okay, so we are indeed using their software.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Yes, and I thought there was one that we didn't like because it was like $1.25 per swipe or something. That was, anyways, that's neither here nor there.
And I believe when Mayor Davis met with the businesses and residents, there didn't seem to be anyone opposed to raising the rates.
No, as a matter of fact, people kind of laughed at what the rate was. They go, why are you even charging that, 10 cents for a parking meter? So,
The feedback that I received too was they understood the increase, especially with knowing what flexibility comes with the app and the smart meters. Our businesses really seem to like the idea that if somebody wanted to use the app and get alerted and pay for it right there on their app, that they don't have to run out and feed the meter. So you're right. I didn't hear a lot of pushback about that either.
That's it.
Okay. Any further discussion? Okay, we have a motion on the floor. So all in favor, please say aye.
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 Motion carries 5-0. Moving on to number 7. Approval of estimate for Rainbow Lake Pump House Bridge replacement for consideration. Ms. Willetts, I'll let you,
Yeah, that's fine.
I know that that discussion was trying to find a company to be able to provide this type of build was very difficult.
Correct. So we cited the code in here, 3.1204, expenditures over $50,000. It allows the Board of Commissioners to approve a sole source item. And that basically says that there's only one appropriate source for the required supplies, materials, equipment, construction of public improvements or contractual services. And the statement in here, I believe, satisfies the sole source. We just took some pictures of the bridge that we're speaking about, just in case anybody's not aware. This is at Rainbow Lake. That's the walkthrough. You got the lake to the left and then the dam, the spillway. The bridge itself is in very bad condition. The current bridge is structurally flawed, as you can see there, and hazardous. Safety is the biggest concern. It is no longer straight and shakes when walked upon. Future work at the valve house, which will be required by MDE, will be hindered as staff or contractors will not be able to walk across, let alone carry heavy items across the bridge. This is the first phase of probably a long list of items that need to be repaired and replaced at the Emmitsburg Dam. The bridge and the vendor that we're proposing is Plastech, is proposing will never rust due to the fiberglass material and has a life expectancy of over 50 years. The coating used is EPA approved and will not harm any wildlife. Staff is not aware of any other company that offers this type of material and their service. One of the biggest factors is fitting the bridge to our valve house and the concrete structure on the dam. This is all custom work for it to fit, so it's a custom build. This company also guarantees that the work will be done without disturbing the water quality, and wildlife. I also included in your letter, in your packet, a letter from the owner of the company that addressed any of the questions. The warranty is 1 year for workmanship and 15 years. Let me make sure I'm correct on that one. Let me just verify that real quick. 15 years on material, the structural integrity. So the warranty is 15 years for all material and 1 year for workmanship. The estimate that was provided by Plastech is $160,959. This will be covered, fully funded by ARPA. We have worked with Plastech on some other projects, and staff has been very pleased with their work and their customer service. And that's basically what I have.
Okay. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept Plastech for the Rainbow Lake Pump House Bridge replacement for a total bid of $160,959.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion or questions?
I will say this, I also just got done a job with Plastech in a different field, but they've done HVAC and commercial HVAC and chiller systems for us at the animal control facility. Very good work, excellent to work with, easy to work with. Any changes or problems, they took care of it,
Oh, great.
but done very well. Very happy with them.
Okay.
One other item
Yes.
for staff. Somebody approached me about the fate of the existing bridge. And I don't have an answer, and I haven't asked. This is something just that came up in the past 24 hours, but I will put them in contact with you. So I think their interest is in literally taking the bridge. So
Part of their bid, the existing bridge, it's basically going to be removed in small enough sections that can be taken off site and disposed of locally. And it's going to be left up to staff to dispose of. So if you would like to put somebody in touch, that's fine.
will do. Thank you.
Does
I
that
would-
open us up to legality?
Yeah, I would only, if we're getting rid of it because of
Structure.
structurally sound or not, or being safe or unsafe, I'd say it gets disposed of properly. Be why, from the town's perspective, I don't want somebody to come back and say, had you not gave it to me, I wouldn't have got hurt.
They could probably still have that discussion with Ms. Willets with that in mind, I would imagine.
I think they were thinking more along the lines of art.
Oh, oh. Art that you can't climb on, hopefully.
Don't censor.
Okay. All right. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Motion carries 5-0. And that brings us up to agenda item number 8, which is for consideration approval bid for the DePaul Street water line. Yes, we just did this and we are coming back to it. Ms. Willett, did you want to?
I can just go real quick. The bid was awarded to another contractor at the last town meeting. Unfortunately, they have withdrawn their bid. So we kind of went back to the drawing board and spoke with our engineer, who went back and reviewed the other bid packets. And through his review, he has recommended Huntsberry Brothers in the amount of $1,107,771. Ms. Shaw has spoken to MDE and DHCD, and we're good with the process. And there is ARPA funds to cover the difference between the previous contractor and this one, this bid.
Okay. Did this bid allow for any extra grant money or no? Or is it using up all the grant money that we were awarded?
Yes, so this project will use up all of the funding. Give you the breakdown for the DePaul Street water line. Approximately 552, well, there's 2 grants, one for 552,500 and another grant for 277,500. And then the remainder is roughly 412,000 will be ARPA.
Okay. All right, thank you. Okay, is there a motion? To accept, I'm sorry, you said,
It's Huntsberry. If you look on
Huntsberry Brothers.
Page 73, it has their price.
I make a motion to accept the bid put forward by Huntsberry Brothers Incorporated in the sum of $1,107,771.
there a second?
I'll second.
Any questions or further discussion at this time?
Yes.
Commissioner Hoover?
So why is Fox and Associates not recommending Bright Construction with the lower bid?
They've had no experience with Bright Construction or the next bidder. They were unable to verify their work. They've had no experience with them. And then conducting some reference checks, Huntsberry Brothers was much more favorable. And in speaking with the mayor, with the location of this project on DePaul Street there at North Seaton Avenue, the engineers, staff, and the mayor felt it was better to go with a company that our engineer was familiar with and had very favorable references across the board.
I agree with that. Okay.
They're gonna have all temporary water hookups beforehand, probably.
Yeah, and it's dealing to, we got to make sure that every household has water.
Yeah.
And we're dealing with road closures, and we want to make sure that we have someone that's going to meet all their needs. If we were digging a hole out in the middle of the field, it'd probably be different, but with this being, having an impact on citizens every day, we want to be sure that we have somebody good.
I agree. I don't want to be the guinea pig. Not on this. Well, you're the mayor, maybe, not what I was. That's fine.
Any further discussion or questions? No? Okay. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Okay, so that brings us up to setting the agenda for May 6, 2024.
Thank you. I have 4 items. The first item would be for consideration approval of the FY 2025 Frederick County Sheriff's Office contract for law enforcement services. Number 2, This is another one, unfortunately, we've had to bring back to the board for consideration. Approval of estimate to purchase prefabricated bathroom / concession stand in E. Eugene Myers Park. Number 3, for consideration, approval of FY 23 budget transfers. I'm sorry,
FY 23.
23. Mhm. And then the initial presentation of the FY 2025 budget.
Wait a minute, 23 or 24?
It's 23, so it's as a result of your FY 23 audit that the
Okay.
auditors just completed.
Gotcha.
Mhm. We do have a second meeting in May for the budget, so I have agenda items for that as well if you want them tonight.
Yes, please.
Okay, so for May 20th, number 1 would be presentation and review of FY 25 Town of Emmitsburg budget. Number 2, for consideration, approval of ordinance 24-03, update to chapter 2.50.030, salary structure for FY 25. And then number 3, for consideration, approval of ordinance 24-04, adoption of FY 25 Town of Emmitsburg budget.
Okay. Commissioners, additional items that you want to consider for the agendas coming up?
Are we also talking about, or what is it, April 15th, you're having a
Didn't-
workshop?
Yeah, didn't we have a closed session
We
coming up on the
didn't-
15th?
Yeah, we didn't have a meeting scheduled, but we can if you would like, or we can go into the closed session after the May. It's up to you all, whatever you want to do.
I thought that the plan was to do budget transfers as a quick open meeting and then go into closed.
Can we have that ready?
April 15th.
April 15th, budget transfers.
Is that a Monday?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yes.
Yes.
Can we do it on a Tuesday? I can't make the Monday.
Tuesday
that
is
Tuesday.
Citizens Advisory.
Not that Tuesday, yeah. Right, Citizens Advisory.
Yeah, we have citizens advisory.
Any
that-
other day but the Monday will be fine.
Wednesday.
Wednesday's fine. That's the third Monday of the month, correct?
Yes,
The 15th.
yes. Wednesday's fine.
Yep. It's third Monday. First, 8th, 15th, yeah.
I mean, you could have your closed session on April 15th and just keep the budget transfers till the 1st or the 6th.
Yeah, actually, we're still waiting on a couple estimates back
Okay.
on some of that stuff. We could have it back and
If
we-
it's too much to do, that's okay. I just thought I
yeah,
saw
we
that.
can,
that
we can
was
have a
something we
closed
could-
session on the 15th if you like.
Can we,
Well, you saying the 15th is not available?
can we
Oh,
do
the
the
16th
can
or
we do the
17th?
18th? Or is it
Wednesday?
the 56th, 17th? Can we do the 17th? Wednesday, if it's possible. If not, I can't be here for the Monday because I have another meeting I'll be on. that I can't
17th
miss.
works for me. Anyone else?
It's a Wednesday.
Is it, I won't have staff available if you don't.
We won't
you
have
need
any.
us. Okay.
For closed session, we won't need any staff at all. We're good.
The reason I was asking is I thought we was doing a workshop. but-
Yeah, I think somebody's having a baby that day, so we, I don't know what's
Really?
more important, the
Really?
closed session or the baby? Can you hold it off for a day?
Can you get your priorities?
Yeah.
Did we
I-
want to do?
I
it?
wanted to, yeah, I was hoping to have some discussion on the FY 25 water rates, just discussion, so it could be workshop or whatever. We had a little bit of discussion about that briefly, but I would like to have a, like I say, for now, a
Further
discussion of it,
discussion?
but and I didn't want to wait till June or July to have that.
Is that something that we can do without staff since we're not voting or any motions?
On the 15th
No, well, the one,
or separate workshop?
no, I think you're asking for the workshop the same time as the closed session, which would be, we're looking at potentially April 17th.
I don't want to do 2 meetings that night or that week if we don't have to.
Well, the closed session should be a,
Because I have one, I'll have one Tuesday. The
Yeah.
Citizens Advisory,
uh-huh.
and then
Which-
whatever we do here, so.
Unless you want to move it, do you want to look at the next, the following week,
The following Monday. is fine.
following Monday, like the 21st?
Sure.
Oh, yes, the 22nd. Thank you.
Workshop that day?
We're just trying to find a day. You
That
said you,
Monday's fine.
Is that a Monday?
yeah, it's Monday.
I can make that work.
Not the 15th, but the
That'll give the
22nd.
town more, that's more time to get the other stuff together if they need it.
Yeah, I mean, we could, if it, all right. April 22nd then? That's
The mayor, is that right, the mayor?
workshop and closed session.
Okay.
All right, let me change that 22nd. Okay,
What's
Alright.
what's your agenda item for April 22nd?
for the workshop,
Mhm.
just, it sounds like a discussion of the water rates again.
I just wanted a discussion about them,
Yes.
talk about them, so
More, okay.
see where we go from there. I don't know if we're gonna do the budget transfers that same night or not.
We could if it's ready, but if it's not, we could do it in May, whatever works. All right,
We could actually do a discussion on the budget transfers and then vote on them to try to make the other meeting a little bit shorter. To see if there's any questions that how about if we do
That-
that, we'll present the budget transfers. We can talk about them.
Yeah.
And then vote on them the first meeting in May.
that
It'll give us
works.
time to make
Give
any
us more
changes
time. Sure,
if we see there's gonna be something's gotta be moved around. How
okay,
about that?
sounds good.
Okay.
All right,
So you're gonna just, you're
We're
gonna
just gonna discuss budget transfers and water rates.
it's the
It's the
22nd.
22nd, and then we can. vote
Okay.
on
okay,
the First meeting in May.
so.
Good.
Is there a motion to accept all three of these agendas? Do I lump them together? Is there a motion to accept the meeting agenda for May 6th as presented, May 20th as presented, and adding in April 22nd with the workshop and closed session?
So moved.
Is there a second? Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Is there a motion?
Do we have any update on the water leak?
Yes, they have the leak kind of contained, so it's not a bad flow. Contractor's gonna come in tomorrow afternoon to remove the leaking valve and put piping back together. We'll probably have to shut water down again. Water's back on, but it'll probably have to be shut down again tomorrow. Once we get a timeline, we'll put that information out. Unfortunately, there might be some discolored water because of the leak and the high flow. So if you get home and you have discolored water, just run your water. It should clear up after a bit.
Okay. Thank you. Do we sign the text amendments or resolutions before we adjourn?
You can sign them afterwards.
Okay, so is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion carries 5-0. The meeting is adjourned at 8:25 PM.